Coast to coast, fresh from a win against Collingwood last Friday night. Hamish Brace, Rosco Allen, and our man kicked 5 last week.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.
Yeah, I like
What
that.
a tune.
Hello.
How are we, guys? How are we going?
Yeah, good, mate. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. For those who didn't know, that was actually my goal song last year, All the Way Up by, I think it's called like Fat Joe, I think the man's name is.
Well, there you go.
But yeah,
All the way up
tune.
with, 5 sausages on the weekend. Well done. What a game.
Yeah, thanks. It was good fun. I'm really
Of course it was. You kicked 5.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I think the team is in general. It's a really good vibe out there, and we did play very well as a side. I think early we started off probably not as poorly as the scoreboard represent. I thought Collingwood was still a really good team.
Yeah, they got some quality players.
And good teams do and have moments where they're dominant. They did that, and I thought we put it together a pretty good performance in the end.
Yeah, well done.
A lot of talks about Brownlow medal votes, but more importantly, and this is now starting to permeate through the media box at all the games, and it's this.
Yeah, the most important vote getting awards just about on the planet at the moment, the Hammer Time votes.
Yeah, I think so. I like ours a better spread. It's not just a midfielders award.
Yeah, it isn't. That's not what I'm about. I'm not an umpire. I'm a general spectator of the game.
You came in to the game against Collingwood, the outright leader on 4 with a host of players on 3. It'd be interesting to see how you go. Did you think at the time when you're coming off the ground, you're thinking about the podcast and the Hammer Time votes?
That's what, yeah, that's
yeah,
obviously.
I think so, yeah. The first thing that sprung to mind was, if I'm to get a chance here, I need to get a late one, and got on the end of one late in the game, which is nice.
You know I love goals, so you did everything you could to get yourself in the votes, and we'll see how it pans out.
One sec.
We'll see how it pans
What's with
out.
Shane Warne? What's going on with Shane Warne?
Yeah, did you hear? Did you hear what he said about you?
I did, yeah. I have a childhood friend who's always told me I look like a certain individual, and to this day I've denied it as far as I could, but my good mate Shane and I are in constant.
Shano, yeah, you and
Shano,
Shane.
me in constant DMs. Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland from Shane Warne. It's a very good one, actually, because the Ellen DeGeneres gets thrown around, but I don't think you look as much like her. You know, she's
I think Jacko Nelson's a more Ellen type
Jacko
figure.
Nelson's more Ellen, but Kiefer Sutherland is spot on. 24 is Kiefer's 24, isn't he? The TV shows / movies, 24?
Yes. Yeah, he is.
Pretty confident.
Pretty happy with it, actually.
Yeah, Shane Warne. Well done. Funny story about Shane Warne. He used to live, back when I was living in Sandringham back in Melbourne, I worked at a pizza place, and we would pretty good pizza joint. We could cap our deliveries at about a 20-minute drive, and Shane Warne was about 40, and he had a good rapport with the owners, and he was the only bloke you'd drive to outside that radius, and you knew, as a delivery driver, you knew what your tip was going to be before you went out there, because he only carries 50s and 100s in his wallet.
That's awesome.
So whatever you get, you round up to the nearest 50, and he had a big party that afternoon, and his order was $151.
That's awesome.
And I was like, couldn't be. He's going to give me $1, isn't he? He's just anyway. Walked in there. Here's my pizza. Hey mate, here's $200. Just thanks for coming. $49. That was me 5-hour wage. Thanks for coming. See you later, Shane.
That's awesome. Unbelievable.
Good fella, but well done. Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland. That's
Quick
you.
one. Who's your doppelganger?
Oh, geez, I don't even know if I have one. Never been told that I look like anyone in particular. I guess when you kick 5, you have probably the whole world watching you. I've never kicked more than 2 in a game, so I don't have many people having a look.
Any listeners out there, stay tuned.
Yeah,
Hit us up on the socials.
Yeah. Anyone got someone I look like?
Not even...
That's not Angus Andrew or my old man?
Yeah. Not only Hammer, anyone else in the team. I'd love to gas out a couple
absolutely.
of players. So let us know.
A lot of conjecture about the 5 goals that you kicked on Friday night, and Jack Darling kicked 5, and I want to know what was the difference.
Well, I mean, personally looking at it, I think Oscars was more of a complete 5. And in saying that, JD kicked 4 in a quarter and he has dominant bursts when no one in the competition can go with him, and he can stack on and not pad the stats, because he did play a very, very good game, but kick 4 goals in a short period of time. That at the end of the game, yes, he's kicked 5, but he's kicked 1 in 3 quarters, whereas Oscar, I thought, was a more complete game. That being said, JD was still very, very dominant and a phenomenal performance, and potentially could feature in the votes. We'll don't know.
Yeah, I think Jack, firstly on Jack, is the best set shot in the competition. I don't want to hear anything from anyone else. I think he's 12-0 from set shots, and he's only had 2 behinds all year, including general play.
Gun barrel straight, everything.
Yeah, and one of those is when he kicked over his head and he was touched on the goal line. That's one of his behinds. So
Inconclusive.
He kicks it very straight, and he's so consistent. As long as I've been at the club, you can bank on him to give you a good performance, take a couple of nice clunks, and always hit the scoreboard. So he's an invaluable member.
You talk about his accuracy. Coming up a little later in Coast to Coast, our studio guest is a man who didn't boast accuracy way back in the late 80s in an Eagles win over Geelong in Geelong. In fact, it's equal worst of accuracy in club history.
Yeah, well, there you go. Coming off the hot topic last week of how many goals you've missed in a game, we'll see what the number is.
Sheeta kicked 3 in, I reckon 90 seconds in playing time.
Yep, less than 2 minutes, I think it was.
Circa Jake Waterman at the end of 2019. Jake did a similar thing against North Melbourne, I think it was. But yeah, Sheeta gets hot like that. He's a weird player that does things that no one else can do. And as a midfielder, he's probably our biggest goal-kicking midfielder, I think.
Yeah, would be. Yoey's pretty big on it when he's back, but he's obviously not playing at the moment. Sheeta is very, very good at hitting the scoreboard.
And Collingwood fans and Collingwood players just must roll their eyes when Dom Sheed just produces some magic.
Yep. Well, he has been doing it. I mean, the 2018 grand final kicked it off, but since then, in just about in every game he's played Collingwood, he relishes it and goes out and has one of his best games.
Yeah, I think it's a feel you get as a player. I'm not sure what it is, but when you go up against a certain team who maybe play a certain style or have a certain team system, sometimes it just works for you against them.
Yeah, like Josh Bruce against North Melbourne.
Josh Bruce licking his lips whenever North Melbourne are lining up. But footy's such a mental game, and sometimes just that feeling of confidence you get.
That's all you need, yeah.
There's no reason behind it. And that's just how the game works. That's why it's the best game in the world.
A lot of people at the ground last Friday night. We're talking about the win over Collingwood. They started when they put on some sort of midway through that last quarter. Everyone started to go, oh, there's shades of St Kilda right here, right now. I know I certainly did. As a player on the ground, what was the vibe like when Collingwood got on a bit of a run?
Yeah, obviously we probably dropped off a little bit, but full credit to Collingwood, as I mentioned earlier. They're a really, really good side, and they have been a good side for the last 4 or 5 years. So we knew they were going to come late, and they did. But pleasingly, we steadied the ship, kicked a couple of goals late to regain ascendancy, and 4 points is 4 points, no matter how you look at it.
Exactly right.
Where do you put your mobile phones when you walk into a game?
Yeah, they're locked in a booth, so...
A little box.
Yeah, the AFL has a compliance policy where you're not allowed on your phone throughout the game. Something to do with sending out maybe a text message about someone's out late or I'm injured to affect the betting market. So they're locked in a box and you can't touch them throughout the game.
2 hours before the game to the final siren, I believe they are supposed to be locked away in this box.
It's funny because in the NBA... I was talking to someone who coached inside the NBA, said that players walk in at halftime and go straight for their mobile phones. From their mentors, from their managers, they read all the socials. Before the actual coach gets to them, they go straight to their mobile phone.
That's bizarre.
It's just a different environment, isn't it? And it's a different culture. Like, these guys are getting paid so much money, and there's only 15 guys on every team, and there's probably 5 to 8 guys on each good team that's there every year. So it's a really revolving door of players. So I'm sure there's a tight nucleus of guys that are really close and have a good relationship with the coaches. And a lot of the, I suppose, more so role players kind of find their way around the league. So it's really bizarre.
And I stand corrected on this, but I don't think there's sports betting in America. So that's probably why there's no concern there. I don't think they bet on live sport in the rugby.
I don't think you can bet live yet.
Yes.
It's only started picking up recently, the sports betting in America.
Yeah.
Because one of my friends actually goes to college in America. He plays volleyball over there. Yeah. And he loves coming back to Perth so he can get on the
live, get on the live betting. Gamble responsibly.
I mean, I've been learning a lot in my sort of 3 or 4 months here off, every single one of them, even guys like Josh Rotham and Tom Cole. They've all got little skill sets that I probably didn't have when I got here. So just being able to pick up little things off those guys and Jamie Graham and Mark Nikoski, the 2 defensive line coaches, have been unbelievable with their time and support and in helping me develop as a person and as a footballer. So yeah, it's only one game. There's a long way to go. Yeah.
Alex Witherden on debut for the West Coast Eagles did a great job.
He did, and coming off a great game up in Yanchep the other week when the Waffle Boys got spanked, he was very good. Good to see the 23 back out there. And obviously not as good a kick, I don't think, as the one before, but geez, he does well. A very, very good kick of the footy.
Yeah, he is a good kick, and he found his way into the game. Good to see in the little press conference there, shout out everyone in the football club, basically. He's gone about 7 or 8 blokes.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank individually every single person at the West Coast Eagles.
But yeah, he's fit his way really well into the playing group. We obviously know he's played 60-odd, 70 games, I think, already. Yeah, he played basically every game for his first 3 years.
Yeah, he played mid-50s, I think it was, at Brisbane.
Wow, there you go.
So he's played a lot of AFL footy.
Wow.
And on the weekend he showed that. First game for the club, it looked pretty comfortable.
Yeah, and he's just a thoroughly nice fella and fits in very well and obviously can play the game and relishes, I think, the kick-ins. Like, you can pad your stats a little bit there, get you 30 with however many points Collingwood kicked, but the way he uses the footy, he pulled the ball inside and looked to really open the game up. No, very good performance, I thought.
You gave Petch 3 votes last week.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. What happened?
What did he do? He hurt himself.
Hammy.
Yeah, he had a little hammy strain.
Yep. Just decided, must have listened to the podcast and thought, geez, I'm going to just stick out on top here while I can.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you blokes you don't want to train on, and one was Liam Ryan, and he's out injured.
Yeah, we've got to stop talking about blokes in this podcast. It's who cares? You don't want to mention anyone.
Roth.
Roth on last week. Have we mentioned Coley at all? I'm not sure.
We tried to get Coley on the show.
Yeah, we tried to get Coley on the show.
Wasn't interested.
Yeah, all right, we'll touch wood because you just, goodness me.
Speaking of waffle, I won't walk all over the waffle rap, but Jermaine Jones, very, very good up at Basso.
Yeah, he was. He's a very exciting player. Just he brings so much energy around the footy. He's so lively, dynamic, and just not that he doesn't get out. He's a super fit player, but throughout the whole game, he just still has that energy and that zip around the contest where other blokes just sort of not lumber around, but he's just so quick inside there and really looks to get the ball going forward.
Interesting enough, we were told, Thumper Bandy and myself were told up at Bassendean in the Waffle live stream by John Townsend, Springer Townsend from the West, that he broke new ground, becoming the first senior player in WA football history to play 2 senior games in 2 days. Because he was listed as a senior player,
there you go.
tick, and then he plays in the Waffle. So I asked the question, has anyone else done that at another level or anywhere? Tony Armstrong, who's now on the ABC.
Yeah, I remember
Tony?
Yep. Yeah, I remember
Tony
this
Armstrong played VFL down in Geelong.
Yes.
And then came up and played Brisbane that night. Played 2 full games.
Yeah, I have heard that story and played reasonably well in both those games, from memory.
From memory, he had 25 in the VFL. And then had 17 in the AFL, so he's had over 40 for the day.
Yeah,
one of the all-time days.
Playing 8 quarters of football. Oh my goodness me!
I couldn't imagine anything worse.
Jeez, that'd be tough.
He's a good fella. He's making big inroads in the world of media too. He's actually very, very quirky. Hey, speaking of retirement, which we weren't, Gary Ablett. Gary Ablett. It was raised its head over there in Melbourne that if there was a spot in the mid-year draft that Gary would not say no if the opportunity came up.
Well, I did think it was a bit, Gary Ablett Senior was a bit old to get out there again, but interesting to see him come out of retirement. Nah, he's, I can't see.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. You can't. He could. He's still pretty good.
I wonder how that shoulder Rico's going. It's obviously going pretty well if he's comfortable.
Yeah, he's rolling out again in the mid-season draft. I tell you, I mean, he could do it. He's probably the best. I mean, I think he's the best player of my lifetime. Buddy Franklin, just a close second. But yeah, I mean, if someone needs him, I'm sure he could. I think there'll be a few clubs looking at Brent Harvey after seeing the photo of him in the runner's outfit the other day.
Well, you've got Brent Harvey, obviously. Cade Simpson came out on the Dylan Friends podcast and was talking about
he wants to play.
He'd love to play. Gary, any other older players that have recently retired?
Yeah, Hamish Brayshaw, recently retired.
Drew Petrie.
Yeah, the Dish somehow.
The Dish was running around our Waffle team in 2019.
Oh, and one of the funniest stories. It was the worst kept secret of Waffle history, Drew Petrie coming back and playing for us. He was telling everyone that he wasn't going to play. No, I'm too old. Saw him one afternoon outside at Mineral Resources Park doing laps around the oval with a mouth guard in, running in his footy boots, trying to tell us all he wasn't going to play. 2 weeks later, he runs out and plays one of the great back halves of Waffle history.
And very strong in his denial that he was listed to play for the Cottesloe Amateur Football Club in the weeks ahead. Completely denied. He said, I would have had to have been cleared by West Coast. And he said, and if I was going to be able to play, I would be playing Waffle with the boys.
Yeah, exactly. And there he was.
I actually had a chat to Drew about it, and a little funny anecdote. So Drew's taken over as our a PDM, our player development manager at the football club.
Yep.
And I had a conversation with him and I said, mate, we need you. We want you out there. You galvanise the group. And he said, mate, I can't be running around absolutely spraying 18, 19-year-olds who are just coming to the football club, telling them they're no good, and then on Monday ask them how their mental health's going, because I'll be the number one reason why they're having trouble. So Big Dish line through his name because of that, I think.
Oh, well done.
There's been a lot of talk about what's taken place up in Kalbarri and Northampton, and I know that Andrew Lockyer, former club, of course, a club great of the footy club, and Big Barge has been involved in pulling something together in regards to a past players relief fund, and JK spoke about it earlier in the week about what's taking place up there in his old hometown.
A lot of people up north have been struggling a fair bit. It's been quite devastating, especially knowing a lot of people up there and what they're going through. You know, Cattery, Northampton, they're pretty resilient towns, and the community have come together to help each other out a fair bit. And just seeing or hearing some of the stories about, you know, families with kids and hiding in bathtubs, mattresses on top of them while their house gets blown down, it's quite chilling. So, but to see them all kind of bounce back, I suppose through the clean-up now, and working together to help each other out. I know the community centre up in Northampton has got a generator going, got some power to that, so they're offering showers and dinners to locals around town. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. There's been no power over the last week and a bit, so a lot of people struggling with that, but there's been a lot of things in place to help, I suppose, get some funds directed up there. And there's a few of us current AFL players and some past AFL players from Northampton who are looking at setting up a relief fund, which will hopefully be released by the end of this week. So we'll be able to, I suppose, raise some money and be able to direct funds directly to people in Cattery and Northampton who need it the most. So.
Yeah, obviously a great cause that JK is talking about, and if anyone listening is interested in donating in any way you can, it's the Lord Mayor's Cyclone Appeal. The phone number, if you need to contact it, is 9461 3886, and you can find that on appealswa.org.au.
Yeah, great cause. And look,
Yep.
when you look at Cripper, he posted stuff on there.
Well, yeah, his family house blown down, just terrible stuff.
And we really just moved on because it didn't affect us. Like, the fires were really close.
Yeah.
But the $200 million damage bill up there, and those blokes affected Cripper, JK, Harry Taylor, Paul Hazelby, Lockyer, that Patrick Cripps, a whole lot of players who just went about their business, so to speak,
Yep.
and just got on with life. We see how affected their immediate families were.
Yeah, I know. It is really hard to see. I mean, a lot of the things that happened, especially last year, there were so many sort of tragedies that happened, and you feel more deeply about it when you've got a personal connection to it. And just saying, like, following Jamie Cripps on Instagram, he posted his family house being blown down, and you just look at it and think, well, you sort of try and put yourself in their shoes, and it is terrible to think about that sort of stuff happening to your family. And even JK then talking about people having to hide in bathtubs and pull mattresses over them while their house is getting blown down. Like, it's yeah, it is really, really terrible. So any donations and any generosity that you can show would be greatly appreciated by them.
How's the focus for Geelong?
He was actually asked about it after the game. That we haven't won there since 2006. So that's something I actually didn't quite remember, but they've had a bit of an up and down year to start the season, Ham. I'm not sure how you feel about it. They obviously won that close game against Brizzy, which could have gone either way. Yep. And we're looking forward to the challenge. We want to have a better performance away from home and really want to get the win this weekend. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, they have had a bit of a topsy-turvy season. They probably could have lost that game against Brisbane if some decisions went their way. They are a quality team and have been for a long time. I mean, they've never been really out of contention for the last sort of 10 plus years. I mean, since they won in, when was it, 2007? 2007. Since then, they've always been, there or thereabouts. So you can't discredit them. They play GMHBA really well. They move the footy there, and, a bit like we used to do at Subiaco, just sort of dominated the ground and almost like a little fortress there. So I think we're coming up in red hot form, which is great, but you can never discredit them, and I think it'll be a good contest.
And with that introduction is the great man, our special guest in the Coast to Coast podcast, the inaugural captain of the West Coast Eagles, Ross Glendinning. Rosco, welcome.
Hi, Goss. Good tune, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just has a lovely riff to open, and then away you go. Johnny Fogarty, still going.
Yeah.
76.
Yeah. Used to play halfback flank.
Looks better than I do.
Used to play halfback flank for Swan Districts.
He did actually, yeah. And then his brother. No, we won't go there. Yeah. So they were good investors. Yes.
Oscar's a bit miffed by the music. Into that?
No clue.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Credence Clearwater Revival. CCR.
Bad Moon Rising?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
One of the old man's favourite songs. Yeah.
Was that sort of genre? How do you say it?
Yeah.
Is it a silent G? And they just had so many good songs and
Cracking start.
Yeah, back in the day when you were our age, Ross. All those years ago.
Can't remember that, mate. But I'll just go back on Google and find it. Yeah.
Earlier in the show, we were talking about how hard it is to win at Cardinia Park, GMHBA Stadium down there. And, of course, 2006, Michael Braun played in that game, and Adam Hunter and Matt Prittis and all the boys, and Embley and
Kerr.
Yeah, Cuzzy dominated. Banners was even in the
Was
team
that
back
the
then.
famous game where Adam Hunter split his head open on the interchange bench?
Correct.
And then came back on with head wrapped up in the third quarter?
They trailed by 54 points midway through the third quarter and won by 3 points.
Some of the boys suggested he should keep that head wrap on. Sort of just helps with his looks, perhaps.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it
There you
gets
go,
me
cop
thinking,
that.
fun fact, and you're big on fun facts.
Yes,
Oscar.
huge.
Round 1, Eagles beat Geelong in 1988, 21 points at Cardinia Park, of which you played in that game. You remember that game?
Yes, I do.
You remember how you went?
Inaccurate I was?
2 goals, 8.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Rosco.
We were talking about that just last week, how many points you've missed in a game. 2 goals, 8.
Yeah, well, they were from 70.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, against the breeze.
Yep.
Wet day.
Yep.
Yeah, so
What was your worst day in front of goals?
2 goals, 8.
That was your worst day? Yeah.
That's equal club record. Summer's done it 3 times, Roscoe's done it once.
The full back in the Oppo, he was pretty happy because he got 8 kicks. Yeah, tried to play on every time. Helped his stats enormously.
What's it like? Why is it so difficult to win down there, even nowadays?
I think it's more the journey, and it's it's a beautiful ground. Well, it certainly is now. But the turf, obviously, a lot of the Melbourne grounds are turf based, so it was pretty heavy. And if it had some rain or it was a bit boggy, it's a hard ground to play in coming from Perth. And they just play the ground so well, slightly narrower, a little bit like Subs, but probably just a bit narrower. So they just play a certain way and fly over. Sometimes we'd stay overnight and then go down in the morning. Couldn't quite get the routine right. No excuses, but it was just foreign. And they were a good side. They were a very good side, so it was good to have a win.
What about Oscar's form on the weekend? And he's certainly going to figure in the votes. Eventually, we're not too sure whether he will actually get votes in the Hammer Time, of course, so the Hammer Time votes. But you were the leader going into the weekend's game. Have you?
Can't say anything at the moment. We'll keep it all under wraps. But 5 goals straight or 5 goals?
5-1.
5-1, yeah, well, there you go.
But what's the difference between your 5 and Jack's 5?
That's a better 5.
Kicked 4 in the second.
Yeah, kicked 4 in the second quarter, and I think that's just the way Jack plays. He's so hot at times, and when he gets hot, and I think it's especially in 2018, when I first got to the club, there was a period of time he was considerably almost the best player in the comp. I remember a day against Richmond.
9 games on the trot or something. He was the best player of all time.
He had a game against Richmond. He took like 15 marks, 10 of them contested.
Yeah.
He gets in this mode which no one else can go with, and that's why when you look at the size of him compared to other key forwards, he's probably the smallest centre forward in the comp and probably one of the most efficient as well.
And the strongest, I would have thought.
Yeah, the strongest as well.
Yeah.
And the biggest tank.
Yeah.
And can run at pace
Yeah.
in the last 15 minutes of a game. So that ability is quite rare.
And what about Oscar's form? What are you liking about his form on the weekend and his form last Friday, and also his form so far in the opening 5
Well, I got a short video from him this morning, just the highlight package, I should say, and the reel, and it was very entertaining. But it's just.
Did you send him back a photo of the Brownlow medal, Ross, or what was your response to
No,
that?
actually, I brought it in today, so just have a quick look. Saying it in front of him, but the way he plays the game, and I think the decision by the match committee to play Oscar forward, have Vardy in to play ruck. We've got a young man here. We don't want to damage him playing ruck. Just to give Nick a release, he's been very competent at that. That's not his one wood. So play the man where he can be most effective, and at times might have to go back, which you're not unhappy with. But the key for us is having three keys forward. So what are you smiling at?
Well,
Was that too gushy, was it?
Well, no, the bit where he said he wasn't happy about going back, you should have heard him on the Coast to Coast podcast a couple of weeks ago when he kicked 2 in the opening couple of minutes. He thought he's on, and then he got the tap to go down back, and he
It happens.
spattered.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have the ability, okay, don't like it, but I'll just do the job.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
You get cheap geese down there too.
Yeah.
Oh, how many times you played centre half back, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I think versatility is a key, especially in the current day that everything's changing so much, and I think it's useful to be able to. If we're going up against a team with a tall forward line, obviously we weren't too sure what Collingwood were going to do before the game, so I went down back early to help out. I think it's just another string to my bow. I think we have a pretty versatile team. Obviously, the week before, Jakey Waterman goes forward and back. Jared Brander's 198 on a wing, so he can go forward and back. It's probably one of our biggest strengths, I think.
He's been important, hasn't he?
Yeah.
We have chatted about the Tom Cole, Josh Rotham, who was our guest last week on Coast to Coast, the head clash there, 23 stitches combined. Is it true that Tom wanted to get up and come off, but Shep and someone else told him to stay down because I can see your skull?
Yeah, so we've heard...
He pushed the stretcher away.
Yeah, we heard a big smack, and the reason the stretcher was called is because Gov instantly has gone to conservation mode and put him in the neck brace, like holding his neck
holding
position.
his neck.
And Cole is saying, what's happened? Like, am I going to die? Like, what's happening? Shep's come in and tried to take his mouth guard out. Coley, he's got his fingers in Coley's mouth.
Yeah, Shep was going trying to put him in the fetal position.
And Coley's gone,
That's
mate.
very COVID safe, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Coley's gone, mate, piss off. Like, I'm fine. I can. And Shep's got his hand in his mouth, and then, by the end of it, I think he'd had enough and wanted to get up and...
You've got to be cautious in that situation. He could have had something wrong with his neck, but at the same time, it
was pretty funny.
Come on,
It was pretty funny out
Shep.
there.
But Goss, to have heard that you could see a bit of his skull, that's how deep it was. So internal stitches as well as external. It's a fair bonce. So the nickname, straight after the game.
Which one?
What?
Gallardi.
Yeah.
Oh, Tony Gallardi.
Tony Gallardi for the Spud Shed.
Spud Shed.
Oh, yes, sorry.
The monobrow.
A little bit behind, aren't I? Well, he's always had a monobrow, so it doesn't really change much.
I've seen some photos with, of course, Lily, his partner. She's been showing the natural progression and regression of his face and the panda bear eyes. Of the colours.
Looks like Lenny from Shark Tale, just that big one nose that sort of pops out.
Hey, pre-game show, you're doing well with Tyson Beattie. We see at the stadium. A lot of prep goes into that.
You're being facetious?
No,
good.
I'm liking. Good to have you back. It's shades of your TV from years ago.
Oh, look, Tice tends to want to take over and doesn't give me a lot of prep to do, and then throws questions out randomly and then cuts me off. But generally, it's been great. He spends half an hour in makeup before we go on, so I can't get a berth. Coloured his hair, I think, for the first one. And was sitting there in the first show and holding his mic, and he was shaking. I thought he had something going wrong.
Was he nervous?
Oh, he's a bit nervous. Yeah, he was a bit worried.
Bit Toby.
A little bit Brucey now,
Brucey. Yeah, Brucey or Ian. Which one? 33 or 44?
Yeah, 44 was mine.
Yeah, well done.
44 or 40?
44 and 33. Okay. Ooh.
Rosco, the stats man.
No, I'll go 40
You go 40.
and 33.
Oh, it could be trumped here. Anyway, we'll move on. Talking about time. No, thank you, mate. It's a lot of fun, and on the times we can also get there at halftime when there's not an activation out in the ground, just to do a couple of little stats summaries. It's great.
So let's go back to when it all started with your television career. You've come out of playing football, and you go into the Seven Network. What was that like? How was your debut? You bagged out Tyson about being nervous.
Oh, look, he knows I was going to do that, so it's all fine. I slipped him 20. I got a call. I got the gig to do some comments for Channel 7, so they flew me across for one of the Tuesday night games out at Waverley. And they said, we just want you to stand behind the guys and just observe and just get a feel for what it is, and the next game we'll get you on. I said, great. Standing there, Don Scott was comments. Didn't understand much what he was saying. Scotty, not much has changed. I speak to him regularly. Sandy Roberts, one of the best callers of all time, and Peter Landy, one of the better hosts you have. So we're about 15 minutes into the first quarter, and they said, no, just sit down. They put some headsets on. I'm going, oh, hello. I'm just going to listen now to see what goes on, and whatever the director is, and I've got the stuff behind my back. I'm just enjoying it. All of a sudden, the director comes up and said, Ross, you're going to be on in a few minutes. I want you to talk about this. And I said, that'll be fine, man. I can do that, Johnny. That's cool. It's in the middle of the actual telecast. My mic was open, and I'm talking to the director behind the scenes. So he said, Ross, you're not supposed to talk. I said, well, don't ask me bloody questions. So that's a really tough way of finding your way in, but I haven't done it since. Well, they didn't really talk to me, so... and that was a great trip. So got home Wednesday, and when the round started, we were on.
Can we just take you back briefly to head clashes and physical clashes in football? I recall the day that I was at Subiaco Oval and you were playing Subiaco, and you came off the ground in a collar on a stretcher.
As in a collar and tie?
No, as in a neck collar after a heavy clash against Subiaco at Subi Oval, and they brought you around behind the goals past the old Subi members.
Soft, yeah.
Do you remember the day?
Got a coat hanger. And
who was that Subiaco player back in the...
Neil Randall, yeah.
Oh, turn it up.
Yeah, so ready.
Handbag at 20 paces.
At early doors, there'd been one, so we played against South Fremantle, and I'd accidentally tripped one of their players, and Basil Zemplis was Basil Zemplis.
The great Lord Mayor.
Yeah, the great Lord Mayor. His nose got in the way. Basil Campbell decided just to square this up, and running bounced to the ball, and he came the other way and just went bang and lifted me off my feet. So
Oscar, Google Basil Campbell.
Oh.
1981 grand final, coming off the square and ironing out Barry Beecroft, who was the ruckman at the time.
Some great names going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's
don't have
tough
a
for us to
clue.
get. I wasn't even a thought back then. 1981, gee whiz.
Basil Campbell was the toughest, number 30 for South Fremantle, was the toughest, meanest footballer in the history of the game.
And look, he liked the contact, but he could play as well, but quick and super strong. So, so that was the one. Thanks, Goss. Yeah, Neil Randall, how are you, Randy? Former owner of the Paddo. Still got the bottle shop next door.
The Paddo, great establishment.
Oh,
Very much so. In general terms, let's talk about biggest collisions you've seen on the footy field.
Jeez, biggest collisions. I remember I was playing a VFL game at Trevor Barker Oval for the Sandringham Zebras, and Paddy McCartan had just come back from his, I don't know how many concussions he's had, but he'd come back and he'd let up on the wing for this this mark. It fell short, and I was on the bench, and it was 5 metres away, and he's turned around. He's got 2 or 3 metres split on his opponent. He's turned around to go pick up the ground ball, and this guy's come through with a knee and just collected him head on, bang, knee on head, and he was out cold. And that was, I can't remember how many more games he played after that, but it wouldn't have been many. Yeah, it was one of the, you could sort of hear it around the whole ground, and it was not pretty.
Yeah, the one on the weekend was the loudest I've heard. That was a really big slap. Like, I can't ever remember seeing or hearing a collision like that, just how loud it was. And initially probably thought it was going to be worse than what it has been. And I think both boys have hopefully been cleared for the weekend. No one's concussed, so a couple of hard heads, which is good. I think actually tested better after the game in their concussion testing, which says a bit about the fellas. But
set a pretty low mark.
Yeah.
They go the
IQ was
the count back from 100 by sevens or something. I don't think
Rothy won't like that. Rothy won't like that.
That was one of the worst. But the worst I've ever seen would be that Jared Harbrow, Jordan Lewis one. Eddie had. Lewis went back with the flight, and Harbrow, I think, was just trying to take a mark. And that was before all the concussion protocols. And Geordie Lewis, I think he got stretched off and then came back on like 10 minutes later. So can't be doing that anymore.
I'd say it was a derby. I reckon the McManus-Wapunda clash where McManus got up when we
kicked the goal as well. I mean, he normally kicks helicopters and not a great shot at goal, Shawnee, but he potted through the middle. And he's a hard man, so...
Big topic, and present company included, of course, is the talk about the future leader of this football club. You're a captain. Let's talk about outside the current vice captains in our group here at West Coast. We've got some genuine leaders of the future, Rosco.
Which is a great credit to the club and also the leadership groups of now and preceding groups, but also the philosophy of the club and the standing from which you are held if you get to that level. We're pretty fortunate. I think there's a number, but the one that comes to mind for me and has been for probably 18 months, but probably improved even further, is Liam Duggan. I just think he has an all-round game now, but also the maturity, played 80 games. Could be wrong.
I reckon he's ticked over the 100.
He has ticked over the 100. Sorry, Doug.
He has.
Done my homework.
Sure.
But he just has, I don't think, Oscar, you'd agree, mate, and Ham, that he has that wherewithal around a group of players. He's a young man. He was a man when he was 19 and 20. And he just reads the game so well, both on and off the field. And I think people follow him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the club's been great and putting a lot of resources towards developing young men into leaders. A lot of guys that are drafted, very few people at 18 come in to this environment as a leader. I think the club's done a great job of developing it. So there's a number that come to mind. I think another one's Tom Barras, really a leader around the playing group and on field. He's one of the blokes that I think there's two different types of leaders. There's obviously the real vocal ones, and then there's the fellas on field that do everything by the letter of the law to win the game for the team. I think both of those two fit under that echelon very well.
Yeah, he's a real. He just galvanises the group. I think everyone sort of respects what he says, and he goes about it on field and off field in a way that you just, whether you're a first year player or you're a 10.
Is that TB or
I'm talking Duggo here.
Yep,
yeah.
Duggo.
Whether you're a first year player or a 10-year player, I mean, what he says, you sort of listen to, and you can respect him as a player, but also a man. And everyone he's a very, very well loved figure around the club.
I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult to talk about yourself in that conversation.
I don't think it'll be that difficult for him.
Oh well, gosh, just to assist there. I mean, I clearly think that down the track, certainly the fellow on my right. In front of you, yeah, and look, Oscar, I'll just say that has what you've just talked about with Duggo, the same sort of attributes. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, obviously, I still have a long way to go on my development. I think I've
Well, you're shaving now, mate. That's
yeah,
good.
That's a first. I think I've probably just got to the stage of my career where I'm not solely I think early in your career, you're probably thinking about what can I do to keep myself from the side, and you're probably a little bit insular. And this is probably the first time in my career where I feel probably not comfortable in my position, but I feel like I'm going to play every week. So it's now I've got my own backyard sorted. Let's start to think about other people a little bit more, and I think that's a big step in your development as a person.
Now, you being an avid coast-to-coast listener know exactly what this segment's about.
Doing this with Rosco. Wow.
Yeah, so, Rosco, you're in the... you and Oscar Allen are holding hands through this maze of hints coming from... Explain it to Rosco, who's looking at us sideways.
Rosco.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it's a typical who am I. I was tossing up actually this week of going an older player more in your era, but as Ozzy and I were just in that previous conversation and offered little to nothing, I thought it would be a bit the same, and you might know a bit more about the current day player than Oscar knows about the olden day player. So we've got our mystery player today. We've got 10 clues. They'll get easier. They'll get easier as they go along, and we'll see how we go.
I don't know how well you know the current playing group.
It is a current player on our list, so that's that's not a clue, but
I'm sweating a little now.
Clue number one, current player.
Well, I mean, anyway, clue number one.
Wait, how many did Lex get in?
She got it in. We actually haven't done it this morning. I couldn't get a hold of her. She was at work, so we'll see how you go.
That happens when you sleep in, mate.
Yeah. Right. Here we go. Clue number one. Under 25 years old.
Including 25 or not including?
Including 25.
Under 25.
Yeah.
All right.
You're together, remember? You're not trying to get first.
No, but I'm just...
You're working together.
No, hey, it's always been a team game, mate.
Now,
unlike
there
radio.
is a few of these that will not really mean anything to you, and we do it for the fans at home to get a bit more insight. So, clue number two is he puts his tomato sauce in the pantry, not the fridge.
I'm a big fan of that. I'm a pantry guy.
You're a pantry
Do you
guy?
start out pantry and go to fridge once it's open?
No.
Really?
Stays in pantry for good. Yeah.
Roscoe, pantry or fridge?
Oh, no, fridge, thanks, mate.
Yeah, I'm a fridge guy too.
Yeah.
3-1.
Gets too solid. Like a little bit
Okay,
runny.
clue number three. He has played in a football grand final.
Oh, as in...
Well,
yeah,
that's
so,
why there's the twist.
Yeah,
Football
okay.
grand
He's
final.
played in a grand final.
Football.
Yep.
And football as in Aussie rules.
He's played in the
football?
Aussie rules grand final.
What do you think? Do you want to have a stab, mate?
The tomato sauce.
Under
helps you.
20.
Tomato sauce in the grand final, yeah.
Who do you reckon? Yeah. Take a stab. Player under 25.
Well, you're really just shooting in the dark here. I'm just going to give you another clue because
I'm just okay. You want me to eliminate somebody?
No.
we're going to go another clue. Clue number four. He wishes he could speak Japanese because his parents lived there for 3 years, and when they don't want him to hear something, they speak in Japanese.
What?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
A tremendously interesting fact for those listening at home. Wishes he could speak
Did this
Japanese.
feature in one of the footy records?
This is where your knowledge.
Read the record.
This is where your knowledge comes into it, Ross.
I did Japanese in primary school.
I did Japanese in primary
me
school.
too.
Yeah.
Just for 1 year.
Righto.
Konbawa.
Number five.
The
Clue
Vikings.
number five.
Ooh.
He was pick 49 in his respective draft.
Pick 49.
Can you phone a friend?
I might take a stab here.
Oh, please, Oscar. Yeah, look, because I'm squeezing up a bit here at the moment.
The tomato sauce Japanese speaker isn't doing it for you, Ross.
Yeah, but pick, go on, mate.
Is it Jackson Nelson?
It is not Jackson Nelson. Tremendous guess, but we move on to number 6. Loves pineapple on pizza, and Hawaiian is his favourite.
Pineapple.
Loves pineapple on pizza. Not sure where you two sit on that.
I'm not a big fan of pineapple, but I'm also not picky.
No, I don't mind it. I don't prefer it. I don't mind it. It's nice in a cocktail, though.
Similar boat.
yeah,
Similar
excellent.
boat.
Simo was asked on Ask Simo by a fan, does he believe in pineapple on pizza? And his answer was yes. Anything goes.
Excellent. I'm also... they're just having a little chat here. And while you are, I'm going to move on to number 7. Clue number 7.
I don't reckon
Or
they're
you're going to
gonna
have a
get
guess? Clue number 7. He's a West Australian.
That could
Western
help.
Australian. That's your 7th clue. Do you want to chime in and have a guess?
So I'm thinking about West Australians
Yeah,
under
so am I.
25. It's obviously not going to be...
Big 47.
Who
Played
loves
in the grand
tomato
final.
It's
sauce
not going to
in
be
a
Roth.
pantry?
He was picked
Yeah.
mid-30s.
Yeah, West.
Played in a grand final.
Wasn't Jakey Waterman. He was a bit later. Obviously rookie. Father-son, sorry.
Yeah.
Something obscure. I reckon it could be someone like a Harry Edwards or someone like that.
Can we go with Harry Edwards? Ham?
It is not Harry Edwards. We on to the next one. Clue number 8. Jeez, we're getting dangerously close. The last, this might not help, but the next 2 certainly will. Clue number 8. He hasn't, when asked what he prefers over Harry Potter or Star Wars, replied, "I haven't seen either of them."
Nice.
Oh, that's filth.
No,
hasn't seen either of them.
I'm with him.
Okay.
This is quite deep, Oscar. I'm relying on you a lot.
Okay.
I think the next 2.
This is a precursor to you getting nominated for captain.
Okay, let me think. Could it be one of the first year boys? Like a Zane True, perhaps?
Jono?
Or Isaiah Winder?
We've just had 3 guesses there. I'm going to lock Izzy Winder, Luke Edwards and Ben Johnson in, and they are all incorrect. Goodness me, righto, this one could just about.
From the top, go through these hits.
From the top, here we go. He's under 25 years old. He puts his tomato sauce in the pantry. He has played in a football grand final. He wishes he could speak Japanese because his parents lived there for 3 years, and when they don't want him to know what they're talking about, they speak in Japanese. He is pick 49 in his respective draft, loves pineapple on pizza. He's a West Australian, and he hasn't seen Harry Potter or Star Wars. And the 9th clue is he was drafted from Claremont Colts.
The answer is Callum Jamieson.
The answer is Callum Jamieson. Well done. The last clue was he was 200 plus centimetres in a shared giveaway.
That's awesome. I'm going to ask.
go.
How did I not know? That Japanese is awesome.
Japanese.
Imagine him walking around the streets of Tokyo.
Well, yeah, there you go.
That would be quite intimidating.
And another clue that I really wanted to put in there for the fans, he has been in his life bitten by a tiger.
Really?
Callum Jamieson has been bitten by a tiger.
I'm going to have some conversations with him.
A young tiger cub, but yeah, got a little nip on the calf from a tiger.
You wouldn't credit. I actually walked past him in the corridor this morning.
Did you? Well,
how bad is that?
You obviously didn't look at him and think, geez, this bloke puts his sauce in the pantry.
No, or pineapple on his
pizza. Pineapple on his pizza, or wishes he could speak Japanese.
I've got a lot to talk to Jamo about.
Yeah, this was one of our most interesting ones. Yeah.
Will he be surprised you're actually talking to him now, mate? Because he reckons you haven't spoken to him for a while.
Jamo and I are very, very close. Couple Northerners.
Yeah, your big head's floated you up to his level now, has it? Yeah, well done. Righto.
Did you know another stunning fun fact for Callum Jamieson, that he surfed every day before school?
Used to surf every day before school?
Every day before school.
Was also a pilot, like trained to be a pilot.
This bloke's the most interesting bloke in the world. Yeah. What is happening?
Can we have Callum Jamieson on the podcast? I mean, just talk to him about his life.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, Rosco, thank you very much for joining the mystery player and helping Aussie all the way to Callum Jamieson.
Yeah. Well played, Oz.
Good on you, Rosco. Ross Glendinning joining us, the legend, the Brownlow medalist and West Coast Eagles inaugural captain, of course. Well, we've all been waiting for the big one, of course, and going into last week's game against Collingwood, we did have 4-vote leader in our very own coast-to-coast star in Oscar Allen, and there was an abundance of players on through. How is the leaderboard looking going into the Hammer Time votes?
Yeah, the most anticipated event of the podcast each week. The vote getters leading into this round just gone was Hearn, Kennedy and Shuey on 1 vote, Sheed, Gaff and McGovern on 2 votes, Nat Nui, Barras, Petruccelli on 3 votes, and our own Oscar Allen was the runaway leader on 4 votes. Somehow. So that was the leaderboard going in, and there obviously are some changes. We've got a couple more vote getters today. Another tough round to pick some vote getters. I mean, there were some really good players, really good performances all round. I'm not a big honourable mentions guy, but there was some that just narrowly missed out. And I'm just going to dive straight into the vote getters here. You know I love rewarding goals.
You do, yes.
Love rewarding goals. Petch got 3 votes when he kicked 4. JK got some votes when he kicked a couple. So I'm going to give my 1 vote this week to a 5-goal getter on the weekend, Jack Darling.
Wow.
Well done. 5 votes to JD. A dominant performance. Had a really good second term, I think it was, where he booted 4.
Yep. Just
dominates the game. Does it like not many others can. The way he sort of turns it on, and he almost is untouchable for the times that he does that. So he's my 1 vote getter for the day. In 2 votes, and all of a sudden the runaway leader of the Hammer Time Awards, Oscar Allen, with another 5 votes. 2 votes for you today, mate. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I
thought you were going to get the 3.
No, not at all.
Disappointment, Oscar.
It's interesting. I was, obviously, you mentioned earlier, interesting. It was almost tough one between Jack and I for who got the more votes for this game. But a lot of good players you played on the weekend. I'll be interested to see you got your 3 votes.
Yeah, mate, it was a very complete performance by yourself, and I was speaking to you about it after the game. It helps, not to discredit in any way the fact you're kicking 5 goals and Jack kicked 5. You are, I think, in a position where you've got the luxury of not getting the best defender. Every now and again you get the second best, and I mean, we put teams in such a hard position because we've got you, we've got JK, we've got JD. They put the best defender on you all of a sudden. JK comes out and kicks 10. So, I think you'll be in that position for a little bit longer. But relish it while you can, my friend. The 3 votes in his 100th game for the West Coast Eagles. He's played 230-odd games, I think, of AFL footy. And in his best game I think I've ever seen him play, 3 votes goes to Jack Redden.
Jack Redden, one of the more consistent players and probably one of the more underrated players you have at the club. He loves finals footy and he loves tackling. And a quirky stat for you about Jack Redden.
Yep.
He is 4th all-time for games played in a row after debut. I believe he played 130 in a row after he debuted before he missed one through injury or form.
Oh, wow, there you go. That's very interesting. He's just been quietly ticking along this season, Reddo. He's had 30s a couple of times. He's just been dominating the clearance. He's just been, in the absence of Shuey and Yo, he's been really solid in there, and I thought that was the best game I've just about ever seen him play.
Well, the coach gave Gov BOG.
Well, the funny thing about that is I'm trying to pick the John Worsfold medal, and I understand that Simo gave Gov the best on ground, but there's more than one vote giver in the comp. There's a few the coaches that chime in, so it'll be interesting to see how Simo and I marry up on this one. Gov was obviously an honourable mention. He was very, very solid down back. Leaderboard. Oscar Allen, 6 votes. The runaway leader. On 3 votes, we've got Nick Nat, TB, Petruccelli and Jack Redden. 2 votes, Sheed, Gaff, McGovern, and 1 vote, Hearn, Kennedy and Shuey.
The young sung hero of the week. It's probably not the player that's going to get votes, like Hamish is mentioned, but it's someone who's more likely to play a role for the side and is more likely to be someone who's a player's player.
Of course.
Do it for the boys. Don't get recognition.
We love that.
And this week, it's Jackson Nelson.
There you go. Wow.
Played a tagging role this week. Played on both Side Bottom and Pendlebury.
Yep.
Held them both under 25 touches and did that while getting bashed up all game, which is not the role that many people want to take, but
was pretty sore the following day, I believe.
Yeah, but he was terrific, and I thought he did a really good job for the team, and that's why he's well loved by the playing group.
Yeah, a very good unsung hero. I thought he played a great game in his own right, and to the tagging role, it's so hard when you have to juggle 2 players. So you're saying you went to Side Bottom and Pendlebury. You've just got to change your mindset. They're 2 completely different players. You have to be so switched on and on the ball, and it is such a selfless role and a very well-deserved unsung hero.
Very, very good indeed. All right, boys, anything else before we let you go?
Look, mate, not a whole lot else coming from me. Good luck in Geelong this week. Get a win. You're 3 votes clear, mate. You're double the next best. So don't let that weigh on you too much. Go out and play your natural game of footy. And personally, I hope you get the best defender this week so that JK kicks 15. But we'll see how we go.
Thanks,
all the
mate.
best. Well done.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Oscar Allen and Hamish Brayshaw. This has been Coast to Coast.